Legacy media, especially games journalists, are desperate lying losers. When Crimson Desert first came out, IGN did everything that they could to lie and misrepresent the game in hopes that people will not buy it. And other companies, websites did similar things. They called it the most uninspiring game ever, a mishmash of mechanics, but nothing with a soul. Absolutely disgusting. And here we are once again, where Crimson Desert is about to break a new record. I honestly didn't think this was possible. I gave it a 1% chance, but my god, Crimson Desert yet again delivers, boys. A look at this graph right here. Crimson Desert is about to reach a new all-time player peak. And at this point, it is guaranteed. What can I honestly say here? The previous peak was 242.1 thousand players, and the all-time Steam reviews, by the way, are currently sitting at a whopping 81% positive. That is, by the way, climbing back up from a, what was it, 57%? Absolutely amazing things. Crimson Desert is breaking all expectations, and trust me, there's a bunch of things that you really want to know about what is currently happening in Crimson Desert, because the future is really good. Honestly, at this point, I would not be surprised if Crimson Desert beats even next week its all-time player peak, which is good, would be hard. But I mean, at this point, it's getting possible, because all the people who were fearful of buying it because of the controls are too hard, the this, the that. Well, none of that matters, because we have patch notes, and these patch notes are pretty impressive. We're gonna go over all of that a little bit later, but first, a little bit about the numbers. Yesterday, Crimson Desert on a Saturday reached an all-time player count of 244.2 thousand, which is absolutely amazing considering this is the second week, and that typically does not happen. But wait, it's getting better. As you can see, the Crimson Desert being a new game and beloved by pretty much everyone, its peak player time starts effectively at 2 p.m. Yes, 2 p.m. This almost never happens in gaming, by the way, I would like to say. And then it keeps going up until, roughly 9 or 10 or 11 p.m. Maybe sometimes 12, and then it slowly starts to dip down. And if you know something, look at this. This is where we typically peak, 2 p.m. 238. Previously, on Funday, Friday, 181. Previously, Thursday, 170. And today, boys, history in the making, okay? We are 4 hours away from peak hours, and it's just currently 12 p.m. UTC. And we're already at 138,000. That is when you compare to other previous times at 12. This is almost a 20% increase from Saturday. An even more massive increase from Friday. From Friday, this is an increase of like 60, 70, 80 something percent. It's crazy. It's absolutely amazing. So, needless to say, boys, we are gonna be breaking an all-time Crimson Desert peak player count. Again, everything about this game so far has been ridiculously impressive. Yes, the people at the start who had low IQ could not deal with the fact that Shift Q does this and Shift F for some reason does a completely different thing. All of them are gone, and now the average IQ distribution chart does its magic, and the average person is playing this and absolutely loving it. Okay, it is what it is. Also, the people who expected this to be a story-driven game, like, again, why? How? How did you get duped so hard? But in any case, this is amazing. We can expect, by the way, the peak currently to be, at this point, 15-20%. Now I doubt it's gonna be 15-20% on the dot, but this is how statistics work. So 15 to 20% off of the peak of yesterday, which was 244k. That's listen. That can be that could be 280,000 because we know that Crimson Desert has a lot of copies sold. Okay. Because remember, Crimson Desert sold 2 million copies in just a single day. And as the review scores go up, SteamDB is representing this beautifully. On Steam itself, the reviews are getting positive, positive, positive. Everyone, I think, knows about Crimson Desert one thing now, and it is the fact that if you play... Why do I have headphones on, by the way? Oh, no. Anyway, everyone knows probably about Crimson Desert. If you survive the first hour of gameplay and you don't think it's horrible, then you're gonna love it. Then you're gonna get hooked, okay? Shroud was hooked on Marathon. Well, now our boy's hooked on Crimson Desert, which is an actual real game. Oh boy, this is why I don't trust streamers. In any case, it's amazing. We can only speculate how far this is gonna go. Oh my god. And at this point, considering this happened, maybe this happens again next week because Crimson Desert is not done. Again, every day I'm making a Crimson Desert video and I'm thinking like, surely this is the last one. Surely this is the... No, it's not. It's never not for some reason. Then we have to make fun of IGN. Then we have to make fun of an AI channel talking about Crimson Desert. Then we have this and that. It's insane. But in any case... 2 million sales in just one day. I think Crimson Desert has potentially already surpassed 4 million sales, maybe. We don't exactly know this. Again, it's by a Korean studio, so I'm not sure how much they shared this data, how often they boast about their sales and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna share a milestone if it happens at some point. But yeah, 3 million copies sold, I would say is probably the minimum that's currently going on here. 4 is very likely, and again, this is a 60 buckaroonie game. So they have already 240 million with 4 million sales. Maybe, pretty possible. Minus 30% for Steam, but they get the discount thing for Steam. Anyway, they have made probably close to 150 million at the bare minimum with the Crimson Desert sales. So needless to say, Pearl Abyss is most likely pretty happy. I don't have the stock graph here, but the stock is rebounding from the low. It's up something like 23%, which is still 10% less than it should be. But it at least has rebound, which is absolutely amazing. And it's getting better and better because currently people are only talking positive things pretty much about this. This is the new patch version 1.0100. Literally happened just today. 5 hours ago. So I don't know how actually good any of these changes are, but there's a lot of them, okay? Added 5 new mounts, added chest containing thingamajiggies, added new this, added your stepsister. She's not even a whore in this game. Can you imagine that? Oh boy. And then, obviously, the cream and butter what everyone is waiting for. Movement speed increased by holding down the run key. Movement speed increased by tapping the run key once. It's amazing, all of these changes. UI changes, in-gameplay improvements and things like that. This is absolutely tremendously amazing. And you know why this is amazing? You know why this matters? Because this extends, obviously, the goodwill of the player base. I'm personally currently very happy with Pearl Abyss, the way that they're handling the situation, the way that they handled the negativity initially, the way that they are doing things. They are updating fast, okay? Listen, these patch notes alone is more than Bethesda has given Starfield in 3 years of existence. That is wild. This just one patch beats 3 years of Starfield. Okay? This is what it is, and this is the newest one. There was a previous one also. Look at how massive this thing is. You can slap it on the top, and there's things that are gonna happen. And in the meantime, you have absolute fucking losers like who cares? Creators of Crimson Desert promised free updates, but the desired feature will probably. Oh, stop your crying, you. But this is why we hate games journalists. Lying, deceitful snakes in the grass. Okay, a trouser snake, if you will, but not the fun kind. And one of the most important things that's happening currently with Crimson Desert is obviously the fact that we have had talks with the CEO. I personally obviously have his number. I talked with him. I was like, "What's up, lady boy lover?" And he was like, "I don't love lady boys, that's you." And I was like, fair. In any case, this is what he had to say. While it is good to see sales of expansion packs, I believe there are games that generate revenue by increased sales of the base game as content expands. And this is big. Obviously, we know that there's going to be an expansion for Crimson Desert. Even if it's stuck with like 65% positive review scores, there would have been an expansion for this, and it would have sold good. And now we know it's gonna sell even better because they're improving the base game. And when you improve the base game, you get a huge amount of goodwill from the community. And that results in sales. The last time I remember this happening is Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. Absolutely great game. I love it. Recommend it to everyone. It is indie Skyrim, but less gay. Tainted Grail has currently an 88% positive review score, starting from something like 6 because Questline, the developer, is a small Polish studio, if you did not know. Amazing game, again, I love it. I don't know how many hours in this, but multiple tens of hours, probably close to 100 or plus. Don't know. But in any case, it started off with a peak of 25.6k. Again, this is an indie game. So the fact that this actually got so much is really good, by the way. I don't remember how much copies they sold, but they talked about the amount of copies they sold, and I think it was close to 400,000, which is a lot, which means they were extremely successful. And then they released an expansion after adding free content updates, new weapons, new gear, new dungeons, new this, new that, rebalancing and things like that, and people loved it. That's how this game came from a score of something below 70 slightly to an 88%. Beautiful. Beautiful. And then the people bought the expansion, obviously, because people like the game, people like the studio, and it did great. And this is what's going to happen to Crimson Desert. Only difference is 33% of people buying a how much was the expansion? $20-$30? It was not cheap. And the game in general, by the way, was not cheap. This was like $50 or something. I got it for free, by the way. Full disclosure. It's still a lot. For people to come back to an indie game and it's selling a little bit over than 1/3 of its all-time peak, and getting that many people back after, what is this? Almost a year. Well, it's a couple of months. But, that is impressive. And this is a game not a lot of people knew about. I talked about it. Again, I love it. I really enjoy the game. I absolutely adore it. Crimson Desert is bigger. When Crimson Desert is going to get an expansion, it's probably going to break a new player peak. And if they continue upgrading the game for free, improving it in all these ways, it's going to be even massive, more massive when it blows up. So I wish Crimson Desert the best. I want to see how actually, we can refresh one time, right? Oh, there we go. I mean, it's not a full hour, by the way, but again, at this point, if this is 2/3 of an hour, so how much is this? 2/3, so it's 15k. 15k an hour. Let's see the previous jumps from 12 to 11. That's 24K, and this was 24K. So it is tapering down a little bit, but without a doubt, we are getting a new time player peak, which is amazing. In any case, that's it. Crimson Desert, go play it, go buy it, blah blah blah. Have a nice day. Bye.